You are about to listen to the words of Fethullah Gulen, a distinguished Islamic scholar and thinker. In this podcast, you will hear his essay, Characteristics of Islam.
Islam is rooted in eternity, beyond time and space. It addresses the human heart, whose spiritual breadth encompasses the heavens and the earth, and its end is happiness in this world and the next. Islam is the straight path that extends throughout eternity. It is a system of thought sent from heaven to triumph in all hearts, beginning with the Prophet, the noblest of humanity, and thus realize humanity's desire for eternal life. Since Islam was first established on earth, it has directed all its energy towards this conquest of hearts. It places its signature in the conscience of humanity and marches into all aspects of our shared life. Islam's impact in our lives correlates to the depth at which it takes hold in our hearts. The more deep-rooted it is in our souls, the more abundant its influence will be in our life and environment. A society's orientation towards Islam is directly proportional to the commitment of individual believers to Islam as their inner reality. It is this spiritual reality that determines the direction of the moral, economic, political, and cultural life of society, and that reveals itself in every aspect of social life. The fundamental message of Islam is, there is no God but God, and Muhammad is his messenger. These two short sentences proclaim both the absolute divine unity and the way to attain it. All matters of faith are expressed in this statement. The great tree of faith originates in this kernel of truth and spreads out towards the edges of our awareness, bearing the fruit of wisdom. In the end, an inner movement of perception transforms all of our knowledge into passionate love. This love encircles our existence and reshapes our conscience. This new spiritual existence manifests itself in the lover's every action. It is reflected in his worship and service, his social relations and work, and his cultural and artistic activities. In this way, the people of faith and wisdom always display the truth of their inner lives. They cannot help but express the love and spiritual delight that is inside them. We may not always maintain the same degree of spiritual awareness, but our deeply rooted beliefs will continue to direct our behaviors, whether we are aware of them or not. This inner dynamic naturally determines our lifestyle. In other words, the way that we think about our place in existence, the purpose of our creation, and the responsibility that attends it will affect our entire consciousness. In time, these considerations will become second nature. In fact, it is this second nature that constitutes the framework of our true life. Having attained this level of spiritual discipline, we can be certain that our thoughts and actions will always be in the service of God. And committed to this service, we will see every aspect of our lives flowing together like river cascading harmoniously to the sea. Faith is the dynamo of the people of spirit, and worship preserves and supports this faith. Morality and virtue are the clear marks of faith, but so too are culture and art. Islamic art embodies the quest for beauty and abstraction and emphasizes the transcendent divine unity against anthropomorphism and vulgar materialism. Its abstract character always accommodates new interpretations. Thus, we are able to discern the ocean in a single drop and speak volumes with a single word. As for Islamic culture, it addresses the entire scope of our human reality. We find in it everything that belongs to us, from the past to the present. We must continue to develop this cultural heritage and entrust it to future generations. Our task today is to protect our traditions and strive to maintain our historical identity. We must remain faithful to our own beliefs by constantly enriching them with new considerations. We should depend on our Islamic heritage as much as possible and let it guide us in our own course. We must contemplate creation from within our own culture, always putting forward new ideas in the spirit of our great tradition. Islam is completely open to the values of other traditions and cultures so long as they are compatible with its own. Islam seeks, finds, and appropriates whatever is beneficial, regardless of its origin. In the ancient world, Islam adopted and utilized the scientific and technical developments of its time, preserving them for the future. It must do so again. Humanity is God's representative on earth. And so Muslims must study out of a deep love for truth and passion for knowledge, and acquire expertise in every human endeavor. In religious studies, however, a subject that depends on the teachings of the Quran and the Prophet, Muslims should be committed to their own texts, but they should be ready and willing to participate in the natural and social sciences, for these are the heritage of all humanity and are not exclusive to a certain religious or cultural tradition. As we enjoy our own religious and cultural identity, we should always be ready to participate in, contribute to, and benefit from these common studies. The history of Islamic civilization clearly demonstrates that such a receptive attitude can prevent needless conflicts between religion and science. Islam has always presented humanity with a unique system of life. When it first appeared, Islam was unprecedented, and as history progressed, it would prove to be matchless. It introduced principles that reordered human life, offered new interpretations of this world and the next, changed the relationship between God, humanity, and the universe, and put an end to contradictions in the concept of divinity. Islam brought value to both life and death. It answered the questions of humanity and left no intellectual, spiritual, logical, or emotional holes in the hearts and minds of its audience. Islam expanded and flourished as it was lived and practiced. It proved to be a dynamic system that did not delay in posing solutions to the problems of humanity. It penetrated every corner of life. It was at once individual, familial, social, economic, political, and cultural. In its earliest formation, Islam was not idealist, as this term is understood in Western philosophy. The sun of idealism rises over the unknown steps of the Mount Kaf. The rays of this sun do not reach the world of reality. Rather, they are refracted by dreams and lost in their own interpretation. On the contrary, Islam promised a sui generis system that was applicable in all areas of life. Those who heeded its call found in it a system that had developed in the same womb as their innermost human nature. From its establishment in individual conscience to its moral manifestations in public life, Islam left nothing untouched and left none of its followers helpless or weak. Islam was first and foremost spiritual, and it began its life in the conscience of individuals. Once established there, it began to spill over to its surroundings, bringing with it a message of eternal existence and transforming all that it touched. Every message of Islam was a song of universal peace, a composition of social harmony, a hymn to tolerance and dialogue. Rudeness and hatred were found only in its enemies, or in those adherents who were ignorant to its truth. Despite its luminous nature, the glory of Islam has been periodically eclipsed by these shadows. If its enemies had ceased their hostility and its friends remained faithful to it, Islam would no doubt have removed the darkness of hatred and oppression from the earth and ushered in the trust and security of paradise. War, murder, terror, and anarchy would have been erased from the earth and replaced by love, respect, harmony, and peace. When Islam truly resides in the heart, there is only room in it for the love and tolerance of the Creator. Indeed, hatred and enmity cannot exist together with true faith and connection to God. If the heart renews and strengthens this faith through various forms of worship, then it will be closed to animosity. Every Islamic act evokes in us the feeling that all of our acts should be Islamic. Thus, we are inspired to live faithfully. This spiritual growth is reflected in our behaviors and constitutes the fabric of our morality. It is the essential origin of our culture, and it secures our identity. Our spiritual perfection, based on faith and trust in God, influences our surroundings in the form of sincerity, love, and concern. Due to the power of this spiritual attraction, Muslims transcend their individuality and become a community. Just as artworks begin deep inside us before they appear in the external world, so do our moral behaviors, our society, and our culture. In other words, the elements of our internal life are the basic determinations of our external one. Unlike other religious and philosophical systems, Islam introduces humanity to a system of life that has a universal dimension, but is nevertheless particular to itself. For Islam requires its followers to practice and implement its teachings. A Muslim conscious of this responsibility will strive to be faithful to Islamic values in all of his individual and social relations. If an ideal is not embodied in action and movement, it remains as unreal as a dream. Likewise, the reality of faith inside us will persist to the degree that it is introduced into our daily practice and flourishes there. If our faith is exhibited in our actions, in the deep reverence of our worship and prayer, and in the truthfulness and integrity of our social relations, then this faith can be considered genuine. Such faith is not only an endless source of energy and strength for us, it is our inheritance as God's vicegerents on earth. It grounds our interventions into the natural world and gives us the spirit of creation. Faith instills in the soul a deep appreciation for aesthetic value. In this spirit, a believer's art reflects the true nature of reality as it is perceived through the prism of eternity. The artist engraves a sense of eternity into his or her work in such a way that whenever we contemplate it, we are presented with a miniature of the whole of existence. In art, we have the pleasure of observing the infinite from within the finite. Art is not a rebellion according to Islam, nor is it an exhibition of talent. Rather, it is a synthesis of the spirit and meaning of phenomena brought about by the language of the heart. Art expresses the truth that should always be before us, with a flexibility that enables us in all our contemplation to perceive that truth in a new dimension. Art refers to the transcendent reality, the unconceivable one, and thus demonstrates unity in plurality and plurality in unity. In short, Islam is the recitation and interpretation of the book of the universe. It is the map of this universal reality sketched on the past, present, and future. It is the mysterious key that will unlock creation's truth. Islam is a whole composed of all these, a whole irreducible to its many parts. It would be wrong to take Islam to pieces and then look for its meaning among them. This would betray its essential unity. Those who attempt to explain Islam with reference to the commentary of a couple of Quranic verses or prophetic sayings will always be mistaken, and they will miss the magnificent corpus that is Islam as a whole. Thus, their consciences will constantly be shaken by this great void in their souls. Islam is faith, worship, morality, thought, knowledge, and art. It is a complete system of human virtue, a thorough, wonderful, heavenly feast presented to its attendees. It involves the whole of life, and it interprets life as a whole. It evaluates the reality of life and never cries out with despair. Islamic instruction is bound to practicality, and its judgments are not rooted in a world of dreams. Islam is dynamic and extends to all parts of life, from matters of creed to those of culture and art. This is the essential sign of Islam's own life and universality.
You have just listened to the words of Fethullah Gulen, brought to life through an AI-generated voice. Known for his teachings on faith, interfaith dialogue, peace, and education, Mr. Gulen also inspired the Hizmet movement, a global initiative that promotes democracy, human rights, equality, and nonviolence. To learn more about Fethullah Gulen and the Hizmet movement, visit fethullahgulen.org.